from outside India, we always say that guests come first. So we have Rosie Amico, who is from Mexico. Very interesting, person. And we have been talking to her in the last 2 occasions to find out what she's going to talk and what she's going to present. Let me tell you that all of you are really going to enjoy what she's going to talk and what Parimal is going to join together. It's something like, doing something like a fashion show. Both of them are going to do so well. And she is, she's a marketing person. You can understand. She brings with it not only training, she's also going to bring in marketing efforts to what we are talking about. And she's, diploma in learning organization and change at MIT University. She's a coaching certification by Anthony Robbins. In Mexico and the United States, a CEO of Refresh Consulting Group. And she's also, going to talk to you. I'm not going to anything more than this, except to say she's going to give us a lot of live program today. And I'm going to also briefly introduce, Parimal. Parimal, very interesting person. When we are talking about him, I happened to discuss with him about his background. Very interesting. Very few of us in this group or among us will have that kind of experience that he's, carrying with him. And most important thing, more than the training that he does, he's got a background. He is one of those great survivor of cancer. It's unbelievable. He says for him, cancer is not cancer, and he has made laughter out of cancer. I think he is going to bring with us life. So that means here is a man who is determined to talk to us, something that quite a number of us are thinking whether we should be doing or not. So I have a pleasure in introducing as well. The process that we are going to follow in this webinar, Rosie and Parimal will rotate among themselves. There is not going to be any interference in what they are going to do. We expect them to complete the session. After that, once again, we go back to our 2 important respondents, namely Rohit and Jyotsna, who are important people. I introduced them to you a little later, time permitting. But Jyotsna is, I'm happy to know that she is the secretary of the Bombay chapter of the Indian Society for Training and Development. And Rohit is a professor teaching in strategies in Indian Institute of Management at Bihar, Ranchi. So we are going to have very interesting personalities among us to, share their experiences also. I'm sure these 2 people, young people, are going to, give little challenges to both Parimal and Rosie by asking them difficult questions so that others in the group learn it. Welcome, and here is first speaker, Rosie. Take over.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. So let me do that first. And here we go. And I'm going to, please bear with me here. I need to make sure that I share the sound. Yes, it's already shared. I will escape this.
Mr. Gandhi, there's an echo. I think 2 devices are being used on your end.
One moment. Yes. Okay, and I will hit the please bear with me. Rosie, all yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, good morning here in Mexico. Good afternoon in India.
Yes.
And welcome everybody. Thank you for your time, for being present in Saturday in your houses. We are so pleased. We have prepared this event for you. So we are happy to have you. So please stay in touch. We have learned and practiced these truths over 60 years between Parimal and myself in our profession. So please share your own truths, your questions, your comments, learnings, lokas, commandments, and edicts with us in the chat box. We want to hear you, we want to have this interaction with you. So please feel free to write everything you need there. We want to share with you your comments. So welcome, be present, stay here. We will have a very nice time together. So put the phone away, tell everybody I have to be here present. So, and also, if you want, please put us there your email ID in the chat. If you want to receive answers to select questions that we may be unable to answer because of that time. And also we will send you the session notes. So please write us your email there. Thank you very much. So let's start. The objective of this training that we're doing today is to empower learning and development, especially during this disruption that we are having in all the world, also in Mexico and in all the countries. So let's start. So this is myself, sorry. So this commandment, the first commandment, it's for L&D professionals, okay? The first group in part 1.
I'll request Gurvinder to administer the first poll, please.
So please answer this question. We will want to hear from you.
We have 1 minute to answer this question, and we will then share the tally with you. Okay, let's close the poll.
Not yet over. Hold on.
Okay.
100%.
Yes, that's what I kind of expected. So let's share the results, which is 100%. And all right, we will. So folks, how is the lockdown treating you? And this is Parimal Gandhi, and let me also welcome all of you. I see participants from Bangladesh and Italy and of course all over India. And you're all most welcome to this session. And I want to ask you, how is the lockdown treating you? You can put it in the chat if you wish, your answer. But I hope that somebody said the question is wrong. It's not how is the lockdown treating you, but how are you treating the lockdown? I think the primary thing that we as learning and development specialists have to know is that we are not creatures of circumstances, we are creators of circumstances. So can we be the go-to persons for our colleagues who may find themselves in a hard place? Can we help them to grow, even if it is in a rocky place, it is on the road, it is, in very difficult circumstances, maybe family members have ended up in a hospital with COVID-19, maybe the organization looking at finances has had to reduce salaries, reduce working hours, has asked people to work from home. Can we help them to grow all the same? And for that, my own mindset has to be that of a creator of circumstances. Here's a song for you.
तेरा चकराए या दिल डूबा जाए आजा प्यारे पास हमारे काहे घबराए.
So if someone is scared, and if somebody has a headache, and if somebody is worried about the change, is all stressed out, will that person come to us for relief? Or will we find out and offer relief on our own? Let me take you to the very first commandment, and obviously you will spearhead change and help your participants to leverage it and not be cowed down by it. And this is what all of us have said in that poll, that we believe that we can make a difference. We believe that we can help organizations and our colleague employees to make a difference in terms of what they do in their lives, at work and at home. So which one am I? Am I the one who's running for dear life, or am I the one who's helping the organization and the employees to surf the tsunamis? And there are more on the way. Apparently, the world is at war, at least in terms of economically, if not, and we are facing a war on our borders. We are not hearing much about it, but can we help the organization to surf these tsunamis that are on the way?
Before to do that, yes, and before you do that, also you have to serve your own tsunamis. Inside of everybody is happening something, so we have to start first in our place, in our house, in our inner world, because for the companies we need to stay in touch with the people and we have to connect with them. But if we are not connected with ourselves, it's impossible to connect with others, because when we consult them and coach them, we will not project ourselves. We have to be aware of them, listen to them, and reassure them. We have to give them possibilities. We have to give them truth and ensure that they will return to work and doing their best. Now is a time of opportunity, of change is opportunity. We already know that. But really for new habits, for new rules, for new things. So we have to have ourselves, our best energy, and we have to help them to have the best energy. Forget about the doubts, the things that are running in our head in a bad manner. We have to help us to conduct the web trainings, staying motivated, but not in a superficial way. We have to know how to manage our own stress and help people to manage their own stress. And sorry, then the next one.
Yes, I have a story to tell here. People in the audience might be wondering, I work in an organization with 1,000 employees, 1,500 employees. So how many will I coach and counsel? How many will I reassure? There's a story of a man who was, walking down the beach, and he sees a little boy, and thousands of starfish have washed up onto the shore. And that little boy is throwing one starfish at a time back into the water so that it may live. And the man says to the boy, look, there are thousands of starfish. How can you make a difference? And the boy said, and as he tossed a starfish into the water, the boy said, I have made a difference to that one, the one that I put back in the water. So it doesn't matter. Can we talk to one person a day? Can we talk to 10 people a day, 20 people a day? How are you doing? Can I be of some help to you? Okay. Rosie?
Yes, yes, sure. It's a very good metaphor, because we have to be ourselves and we cannot do more than we can do. So be concentrated, focus, stay motivated, manage your own stress and the people's stress, and also practice physical and mental wellness. There are practice around the world in several techniques that you need to be practicing every day. How to work effectively from home, how to have better ways, creativity ways, in order that you can have and make a virtual leadership with the people that you are talking with. But everything starts with you. And remember, conducting a web training is an experience, and you have to be prepared and in love with technology. Right now, you have to forget, I'm not good in technology. You have to be now. So stay in love with it and know how to do things and make yourself a virtual leader.
You know, Rosie, I am old school. I started conducting training in 1976. And up until, I would say 3 or 4 years ago, I was unwilling to get into e-learning. I was unwilling to give up face-to-face training, and I still don't want to. But in the last 2 months, I have really learned Zoom. I'm still having a little bit of difficulty with it, but I have been conducting session after session, and I think doing a decent job of it. So I've had to learn it. And I think
Yes.
all of us must learn and master this technology and conduct training on these and other topics which are necessary for our organizations and our colleagues. Over to you, Rosie.
Of course, and it's practice. So don't worry, don't be afraid, do it and start doing it today. Learn how to do it and be yourself when you are in front of the camera, in front of the video, and connect with the people. The most important thing is to connect with the people, that they can feel that you are listening to them. Because let's go to the second commandment, that is, your learning should be strategic and purposeful. You need to know where do you lead in these people. You have to tailor your workshop, your training for the people, for the purpose of the company. So here in Mexico, sometimes people want to give workshops and trainings, and they have beautiful trainings with excellent information, but information doesn't matter. The things that matter are the strategic and the purpose of the training for the people. Because that's the only way that you can earn a seat at the table of the company. If you are already working with them with the relevance of the information that they need. So you shall be relevant. And you have to see where is the importance of the company. Not only, if the next slide please, not only with yourself and your teaching needs, but also with the business need, the participants need. Everything is important. And let me tell you an example that what happened with me here in Mexico with electrodomestic, one of the biggest electrodomestic companies here in Mexico, gives products around the world. We train all the sales people, international sales people. So they need to train them in stress. We give coaching and workshops to manage stress and the personal energy of every people. So the business, they needed, because they were burned out. They were really tired about the stress that they were having. And that was the relevance of the company. And then the participants they need to have the training in their own time and just 1 hour every week. And then the teaching that we need to deliver to them in order that could function was around 4 hours for 6 weeks, in order that they could train new practices. So we had a mistake there, and I want to share with you guys, because we say, okay, let's do it at the way the participants need. And we forgot the relevant thing there, because we didn't finish the workshop as we wanted to do it, because we say, okay, at your time, at your hour, don't worry, we will do it. And nothing happened as good as we have done it in another companies. So we have to take care of all the circumstances and be so strategic and with a purpose, and stay there, focus there in the relevance of the needs of the company with you and the participants. Yes.
You know, Rosie, I had this very funny situation where there was a paint company for whom we were doing training, and they had a big budget. They chose to go to a place called Mahabalipuram, which is on the beach. and we were teaching presentation skills. And the participant said, look, we have been here for 2 days. You have not allowed us to go to the beach. Now, these are participant needs. And I said, okay, so what do you want to do? And they said, if you would like to go into the water. And I said, what if somebody drowns? And so one of the people said, well, I've been a lifeguard and I will make sure that nobody drowns. I said, all right, but you don't go into deep water. You come back whenever I tell you. But I said, look, you have to practice your presentations. So we had this strange situation of balancing teaching needs, business needs, and participant needs. We conducted the presentation skills program, one of the sessions, in the water.
Yes.
But we made sure that we took care of the business needs. Gurvinder, can we have the second poll, please?
Okay. You will put this, the second poll?
Yes, Gurvinder, I'm requesting Gurvinder to do it. Here we go. Please answer it quickly. We have 1 minute. Everyone?
Yes, and this is a very important question because everything starts inside of you, in your house, in your place. And the things that you're not working inside of yourself, you will see it in the people that you are working for. And that would be a bigger challenge because when you realize something and you work with yourself something and you can do it, you can teach people from your experience that things can be done. And in these moments, it's very important.
Let's end the polling, Gurvinder, and share the results.
Still, we have a few seconds for a minute. Too.
Yes.
Okay, all right. People respond quickly, please. Okay, so training effectively using video conferencing platform seems to be the winner, with 41% of the people saying that those are the skills that they need to master their work today. And internal persuasion skills is the next favorite. And then how to measure ROI is the next one. Okay, so let's continue here. The third commandment is you will master the training process. As a learning and development executive, that's really the job, and we must be masters of this universe. There is the poetry and the grammar, the magic and the nuts and bolts. So the grammar is the training management aspect, which is watering the plant. What happens outside the conference room is what is what training management is generally. And then you have the poetry, which is what happens inside the conference room. And of course, the participants only see the poetry part. But then there is the nuts and bolts, and there is the watering of the plant and the the garden that the gardener took care of. Now, here is where we have the grammar. And according to me, it begins with appraisal training, because a number of managers don't know how to fill out the training needs. Therefore, it's like asking a patient to fill out the prescription. So the first thing that needs to be done is great appraisal training, and with particular focus on how to fill out the training needs. Next, we do the needs analysis, but that should not only come from people's appraisals, but it should also come from the strategy and the objectives of the organization, as well as your own analysis, your own gut feel as a learning and development professional. From those needs, we arrive at the objectives and the content, and then who is going to teach it and how it is going to be taught. That has become very important now, the how part of it, because the traditional conference room training is not available to us as a medium. Therefore, do we do it through e-learning? Do we do it through live, like a live webinar or a live web conference training? So who's the trainer? How do we select the trainer? And how is the trainer going to deliver this particular training program, the objectives and the content? Then come the logistics, which we will talk about in detail. And then there is the feedback and the analysis of the feedback. Now, the interesting thing is that there is something which is missing in this process. I would like you to enter into the chat what you think is missing in this process. Let me give you half a minute to fill that out. There is one step which is missing here, and I want you to write out in the chat what is the step that is missing. Please carry on, and I will go on with this. The logistics is what I find most training managers focusing on. And there are many, many organizations where I have had to do steps 1 to 4 and do step 6. Over a period of time, I found that L&D executives or training managers have become far more savvy, and they are doing more and more of this. And I'm very happy about that. But if I only do logistics, then I'm doing something very, very important, but that's clerical work. And you have the opportunity to be a symphony conductor. So when I do all of these 7 steps, then I'm being a symphony conductor, okay? Not just a clerk. Talking about logistics, please remember God is in the details. So please manage, don't mismanage dates, communication, trainer travel, lodging and boarding, the meals of the participants, the audiovisual equipment, everything in great working order, everything with replacements available if something should go wrong. And then who's going to inaugurate, who's going to do the valediction. This is very important because this is how your work will receive the attention of your internal clients, the managers. On participant food, I have a view. Please make sure that the lunch is very light, possibly soup, salad, and sandwiches. Because if you want food for thought in the afternoon session particularly, you can't give participants too much food. And really the participants don't mind. So if you give them this kind of a spread, as you see here, then forget about the afternoon session. One of the things that I do, and some of you have dealt with me, is to send out a menu of suggested items that could be served during a training that I conduct. I'm using the word trainer, but some people like to use the word experience generator, or they like to be called facilitators, and that's just fine. Look, there is this thing that people keep saying that anyone can conduct training. Please perish the thought. Remember that you are giving 20, 30, 40 people for the trainer to handle. The trainer is playing with their thoughts. And therefore, if you have a great trainer, he will do a great job of it. If you don't, your credibility is at stake. So we are not saying that only some people can conduct training, but to conduct training requires training. So have them go through trainer training and then train them. We are not against internal trainers at all. I love the thought of internal trainers. And yes, if you pay peanuts, you will get exactly this. You don't want to hand over your Mercedes to a chimpanzee. So from invitation to payment, please get it right. Whether internal or external, trainers are the heroes of your show. Their goodwill determines what and how they teach, because they are knowledge workers. So with what motivation and enthusiasm they teach, as well as what content they bring out, depends on their goodwill. Please respect the trainer's requirements. There are reasons why these requirements are brought forth. So if he wants a high lumen LCD projector, please give it to him. If he wants a cordless collar mic, please provide it to him. There are reasons why trainers ask for certain things. If you treat them like gurus, that is how they will behave. If you treat them like vendors, then that is how they're going to behave. Rosie?
Yes. So we're going to the fourth commandment, okay? So also make your notes for your own work. What is happening with you and your work? What do you need to focus on to make you the best trainer that you can be, or to have the best training in your company? What are the needs of your company? And this is a very important point. You will not conduct training without measuring the return on investment. Some of you were writing that in the chat box. So this is very important, because they have taught us that it's not possible to measure these things. So we can do it. We can do it, and it's an easy way. And so talk with the company before you start a training and say, okay, what are the indicators or the measures that we will have in order that you can have the return on your investment. Would you change this slide, please?
Rosie, I want to share with you that I have had, this is in fact the 7th step in the process, which, which was missing in the previous slide. Now, let me assure you that wherever we have conducted ROI, and I have done it for at least a dozen organizations, the results have been very, very positive. Over to you, Rosie.
Yes, because remember about relevant. The relevant information. This is one of the steps or the places that you have to focus your energy. Any activity that does not add measurable value has no place in the organizations. In the companies, it's about money. It's about to make a profit of it. So the ROI can and add should be measured for any kind of program. But hold on, guys. I want to give you here an advice that have worked for me here in Mexico and in Latin America and the US, is that don't focus in a lot of indicators. Just for me, it's 1 to 3, at most 3. That if you focus in one thing and you make the workshop, that people go to that intention, go to that purpose, things happen, because everybody knows where are we going. They are not only students at a classroom. They are knowing what they have to construct, what they have to build for the organization and for themselves.
Rosie, I've had some very interesting experiences with measuring return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you sit down with the client ahead of time and say, would you like to measure ROI? Now, remember, as an external trainer, I am interested in it, but I'm not an academic. And please remember that as an external trainer, I am in a time game. Therefore, if you want me to do ROI, I'm happy to do it, but it's going to cost.
Yes.
Now, we had, we said we had a bank that we worked for, which is a cooperative bank, and they said, we would like to see how much customer service improves. And we said, can you put a monetary value to this? And they said, yes, the measure is going to be in terms of the fixed deposits. We are getting a certain amount in terms of fixed deposits every month. Does it go up? So we designed training. We measured customer service and fixed deposits for 3 months before the training, conducted the training, and then for the 3 months thereafter, we measured, and there was there was a huge increase in both customer feedback as well as in terms of the fixed deposits that came in. So we need not be defensive about our profession. We really truly add value, but we
Yes.
have to be willing to measure it. I will go to the next slide.
Yes, and just to close these comments that you are saying, Parimal, also you have to lead the group, the organization to the relevant and importance of the company. So maybe they want to have this indicator of sales or money, and sometimes the workshop that you're giving, the training is not going to that way. So you have to help them and to fix something that really is going to happen in an honest way with the company. So, because how to lose your job quickly in these times, you have to say things like training gains are intangible, or training takes a long time to bear fruit. You have to make things done from the day one. People have to start practicing from the day one. If you want to make change in organization, the only thing that matters is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Whatever you think is relevant for company, and it's important in the way that you are making with them, but the practice has to start with them from the day number one to have changes from the first day.
Rosie, I was in a meeting with the sales manager and the HR manager of an extremely large pharmaceutical company in Bangalore. And the sales, we were looking at doing, a selling skills training program. And the sales manager asked very naturally, he said, I'm giving you my team for 3 days. When can I see a change in their performance? And so before I could answer, the HR manager got in and he says exactly these things, that, training gains are intangible. It might take 5-6 months. I said, wait a second. If the change does not happen on the 4th day, in other words, on the first day after the training, if the change does not happen, change is not going to happen. So we need to be very, very sure of what we are teaching and what results we are going to be able to get.
Yes, sure. So, okay, guys, are you learning something? Yes or no? Put in the chat. Are you learning? Are you having a new experience? Okay, because that's important. Now, when you are in a virtual workshop, the energy of the team, the energy of the people is so important. So we start. Are you ready to go to the commandment number 5? Yes? Okay, so stretch yourself, move your arms, take a long and deep breath, and exhale. And let's go at the half of the work that we're doing today. So commandment number 5 is please, please, please. We have to make these regular practices in companies. We have to avoid training on weekends and holidays. If we want to work in important matters, strategic plans, and whatever is in a training, it has to be in working days, okay? Because, and before I say the first point, the people that has to make a commitment, a real commitment, is stakeholders, managers, directors, leaders, the people who is in charge of the team. They have to decide if they are going to do it, because we need the leadership of them. And they have to be aware that people needs to relax, people needs to be at their places on the weekends and also in holidays. So when the owners of the company or the first level of the company knows and acknowledge this, employees take that training seriously. And it's also it's something that we have to have in a relevant position and a purpose position. If the heads of the company are not, they are not involved in this, nothing's gonna happen. So let us signal to them that training is also work. We have to work. We have to talk about this important matter that we don't have in a regular basis time to do it. It is not something that you do it on the side, because all employees, all employees, we have to have work-life balance, everybody. So that's also important. And now in these changing times that we are having, we need to put that in the front of our work, that we have to have balance, everybody. If the people can balance their inner experience, their mind, their emotions, their body, you will have people with more productive and efficient work, and your product and your company will be more competitive.
You know,
There
Rosie,
is a way to do it.
you know, Rosie, I've had this situation, and let me tell you that in spite of this belief, I'm busiest on weekends. And that is when the company says, sorry, if you don't want to do it on a weekend, we just don't want to conduct training. So I don't have much of a choice. I have to work. But then I do tell my clients that, look, my experience is that the first hour to hour and a half of the training is wasted on managing the resentment of the participants. They are not in a good mood when they come.
Yes.
Because they are missing their family.
Yes.
Can we please go to the third audience poll, Gurvinder?
And while I will read the question, the most critical hurdle I face in delivering effective training is, and answer the question.
I'm seeing the graphs moving. It's fascinating.
Yes, it is. Yes, so yes, I think that you as a trainer have to be truth with yourself. Honor your values. And if you think that is not relevant to do it in weekends, well, do it. But you make the best for the company in a true position and make an experience for them.
Can we end the poll, Gurvinder, and share the results?
Yes, sir. 1 second more. Now.
Okay, there we go. It's management attitude towards L&D. Now, it's fascinating. One way of looking at it is that that's the way they are. They don't let me do my job. Another way to look at it is, how do I change their attitude? I mean, isn't that the profession that we are in as trainers? Aren't we, and particularly behavioral trainers or soft skills trainers, isn't it our job to help participants to move towards more functional attitudes? So why can't we request time with our management and say, we can do better than this? So let me carry on. These are very, very interesting results that we are getting. The sixth commandment is a little funny. Please don't pay the caterers more than you pay the trainers. And I had somebody tell me that it's so horrible. I have to wait 120 days for my payment to come. Whereas the man who rented the equipment gets his payment the same evening. So here's where it used to go. The training budget in travel, boarding, lodging, transportation, and trainer fees. So can we make sure that the trainer is adequately paid and paid on time? A lot of companies say they find training expensive, but then if you find training expensive, have you tried ignorance? Let's not train them. here are some obstacles that we must surmount, and you are aware of them, so I'm just going to go through them very quickly. There are certain kinds of participants that I want to talk to you about. There are participants who are what I call dynamically static. So they attend, they talk about the training, they discuss the training, they don't change anything. Then we have participants who need the training, but don't attend it, or they don't turn up, come late, or leave early. Participants who are on the phone or the computer all the time, or participants who get called back by bosses or customers. Now, when we send terms and conditions to our clients, we say ahead of time that these behaviors will be penalized. And I think, Rosie, you charge money, don't you, in Mexico? There is a fine to be paid, right? So I think there have to be consequences of these kinds of behaviors, and many a times the manager doesn't know, and such behavior should be reported to at least the training manager who gave you the job. Sometimes, and I don't understand why would participants come in who have no authority to implement. I remember that I was conducting training on written communication very early in my career, and this was over a period of time. So, every alternate day we were conducting training, and the participants appeared very frustrated after about 2 or 3 sessions. And I said, why? Is there something wrong? Am I saying something wrong, or am I saying something which you don't agree with? And they said, no, sir, that's not the problem. The problem is the changes that you asked me to make when I made in my written communication. My boss said, who told you to write things like this? This is not the way that we write. And so I felt that the boss should have come for the training. But what I learned from that is that whenever I conduct written communication, I insist on doing an executive briefing so that the boss knows what to expect and discusses with me ahead of time what they want or don't want. Participants who are about to retire, I'm not against giving them training, but maybe retirement training or retirement management training would be better subjects for them, because they won't be around to implement what they learn. Participants with incorrigible attitudes. So I have been told at times, if you can turn around these 2 guys through your training, you are really a trainer. But what they will do to the remaining 18 or 20 people that are also there. So what I say to my clients is, fine, you have hard nuts that you want me to crack, great. Give them all to me in one batch. Let's train the trainable first. Then there seems to be a cadre of permanent participants, and this is funny. In some organizations, I've seen that no matter which training you conduct, the same people turn up. So there was a company for whom I was doing secretariat training, and then I was doing communication skills training, and I was doing presentation skills training, and the same participant would turn up. So I asked the training manager, I said, what is this? And he said, well, it's like this. He got transferred to one of our branches. His family is still here, and his wife has a job here, so she's not able to join him, and the children are in schools here, so they are not able to join him either. And he has a really kind boss, so he gives him an opportunity to keep coming back to his hometown. So 1 seat wasted in 3 programs. So why would we do something like this, participate in this kind of a thing? I don't understand. How would you like to have this jailer as a participant or a boss?
ये साली परेड कब से शुरू हो गई? बेटा, तुम्हारा आज पहला दिन है, सब पता चल जाएगा। नया जेलर बहुत खड़ूस है। नया जेलर बहुत खड़ूस है। आ रहा है।
अटेंशन! हमने कहा अटेंशन!
सर वो तो पहले ही से अटेंशन है।
हम जानते हैं। रेडियो! कान खोल कर सुन लो। हमारे आने से पहले जो कुछ इस जेल में होता रहा है, वो जब तक हम हैं नहीं चलेगा। नो 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 नो। हम अंग्रेजों के जमाने के जेलर हैं, आजकल के जेलरों की तरह नहीं, जो कैदियों को सुधारने की फिक्र में लगे रहते हैं। हाँ, हम अच्छी तरह जानते हैं तुम लोग कभी नहीं सुधर सकते हो। अरे जब हम नहीं सुधर सके तो तुम क्या सुधरोगे? हैं?
Can you imagine having this kind of a boss who's like in charge of HR, or you are in charge of HR, but he's the boss? And there are people like this. I mean, this is comedy. And, for those that don't understand Hindi, let me say that he is saying that, I am the jailer from the times that the British used to rule. And if I haven't changed in all these years, I don't expect you people to change. And I am not the kind of people who will, kind of person who will invest in trying to change those that have been jailed or those that are prisoners. What is your experience with this, Rosie?
Oh, this is, I think, for every country, these things happen because you will have bosses or leaders or directors that they have this mindset, and it have worked for them. This kind of way of running things, no? So that's their experience. But right now we have to change. And also in Mexico, we something that we use and it's so helpful for big groups. For example, we are running trainings to big companies, and in Zoom we have like 25 or more people in our workshops. So we have to make things happen, and also in every mind of every person, it's happening something different. So we have to be very aware of that. So something that I want to share with you guys is that well, before we start the training, we have to help people to be committed to the training. I don't care what kind of training are you giving. People has to say yes. It doesn't matter if the company has already paying the check of the training. People want to say, yes, I want to learn. Yes, I want to change. Yes, I want to adapt this information. Yes, I want to be part of the change. So we make always, first of all, a meeting with them. We tell them what is going to happen, where is the path that we are making for them, and if they're interested to do it. And we
Rosie,
say, you want
this,
to do it?
sorry, Rosie, this does require a lot of marketing. And, it is through marketing that people build the desire to buy anything, and let it be internal marketing that we do.
Yes.
And, we may have a boss like this, but this is an extreme and humorous example that I've given. But I think if I am the boss, I also will think, do I want to give away my people for 3 days for a training program where I'm not very sure what result I'm going to get? So if there is measurement of ROI, and if the program is proven, then yes, the manager will not mind. Yes, go ahead, Rosie, please.
And I will add those two factors. You are true of those factors, but another one is that we can talk and coach the director, the leader of the team, and ask him what he needs. And when you go inside of the person, you are I forgot that word, sorry. You are true with him, and you hear him, you listen to him, and they say, I want this for the team, I'm tired of this. Okay, so, and we give him with his own words what the things that he needs, we will have it in our team. And also when we do this, first of all, we have to talk with the leader or the director and be true with that person and say, okay, this will be happen in the logistics of the workshop, and then talk to the people, to the team, and say, guys, you want to be part of this? We need you. You are important. So we want your commitment. And after that, when we start the workshop, we do a third thing. We make a code of honor, where we will have rules and consequences, because we need to work in a proper way. We don't want them to distract their minds with somebody, if somebody came late, or it's a phone ringing, or somebody is distracted. We have to have the 2, 3, 4 hours of the workshop or the day, everybody focus and everybody here, because
Rosie,
we need to have the rest of the time.
we are seriously short of time. I'm going to have to hurry up. So please excuse
Continue.
me. Yes.
Yes.
The training budget is an area which people find difficult, because in bad times, there is no money for learning and development. In good times, there is no time for training. Another thing that, another hurdle that training managers and trainers face is unreal expectations. So managers expect that the change which they've been asking for in vain for 3 years will happen in 3 days using a trainer who has no authority. So it's like saying, can you make her fly in half a day? The training duration gets slashed. And I've had this experience where, it takes 3 days at least to have some success with a communication workshop. And somebody said of a very reputed company that you have no choice. You have to do it in 1 day. I said, look, my dear friend, I do have a choice. I have the choice to not conduct the training. And when I spoke so frankly, the person appreciated my professionalism and gave me 3 days, but it couldn't happen at once because there was some problem that was going on, but they did give me the 3 days. Then there is the numbers game which is being played. So the number of participants trained is more important than the quality. And if the training manager's numbers are being measured rather than the quality, then numbers is what he'll deliver. So too many participants.
Yes.
Rosie?
So commandment number 7, too much follow-up is not enough follow-up. Okay? So yes, be aware what is the purpose, the relevant information, and please make things happen. Make them practice. If participants don't use it, they lose it. Demand implementation. That's your job. It's not to keep beautiful words and beautiful content. Things has to be repeatedly, so hit them with posters, with emails, WhatsApp, Facebook pages, and make them that they can do the things. They have to do it. You just have to demonstrate them how to do it. LinkedIn group, reminder cards, Instagram, Twitter, boost chat, presentation, prices, anything you need, do it and make that things happen.
One of the things I found very effective is boosters. So you go for, you do a training program and then do a follow-up session after 1 hour. I call it a booster, and a follow-up session after 3 months for an hour or so. It doesn't take very long. I'm going to pass this.
Yes.
Let me come to the commandments for trainers. And we will have our audience poll. Gurvinder, quickly, please. And this is the 4th and last poll.
So I will read it. Most critical obstacle to training well is what?
And remember, now we are looking at trainer commandments. It's fascinating to see the graphs moving, and you really wonder what is going to win, which factor. Can we please close the poll, Gurvinder?
It's
We are
like it's
getting...
only 40 seconds. So let's wait for 20 more seconds.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
I'm
It has
concerned about Dr.
some time.
Gangadharan and, the axe falling.
No, he will give me 20 seconds extra.
You can give, but people may not be there. So you need to
Yeah,
be careful about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, let's close it, please. Yeah. So we have the last factor, which is trainers lecture. They do not generate a learning experience.
Yes, true.
Okay, so there's a saying in the United States, telling is not training. Okay, interesting. Let me tell you the trainer commandments. You will respect your profession and your participants. You will respect your profession and your participants. We are not superior to them because we are standing up and they are sitting down. Particularly, I've seen with behavioral training and soft skills training that participants come programmed with the knowledge. Most of the times, you are not telling them anything new. They've already spent 30, 35, 40 years in this world. They've spent maybe 20 years working in an organization. They know it. The only thing is their knowledge is not organized, and they do it on autopilot. You're making them conscious of what they already know. Very, very important for a trainer to be a role model. Please follow your own rules. So if you expect that participant phones will not ring, yours also should not ring. If you expect participants to be on time, and these are simple things which sometimes we don't follow. Let's be on time if we expect participants to be on time. There was a webinar going on with maybe 150 participants. And I saw one of the presenters in his undergarment, undershirt. We cannot be doing this. So let's be role models, let's be examples.
Yes, yes, because we are trainers, but are we learners? Are we expecting others, but not ourselves to learn? So make an experience for them and be so honest with yourself, so humble that you can learn from them, from the experience that you are having and you are development and creating for them. So the next one. The experience is more important and learn lifelong. Be acknowledgeable, supple, agile, masterful. Play with your energy. You have to have the best energy in the room and make them inspired by yourself. So, and also generate your own content. Be a friend of technology, of application programs, and be creative in when you are preparing the class and preparing the content for the people. Be joyful, be pleased for this moment that you have the opportunity to help others to change their inner experience and the experience that they having at work. You are making things happen. So because everybody knows how to use Google and slide shares, I hope so. But you have to work and be so grateful that you are making your own content. And also acknowledge if you use others' content. Yes, Parimal.
Rosie, since I've been so long in this profession, it's 45 years now, I get the opportunity to mentor a lot of young trainers. And they always ask me, where do you get your content from? And I always tell them, it comes from my own head and my own heart. Initially, I did not have that confidence in myself. But later on, I said, no, I'm the trainer. and therefore I have to say what I want to say. Yes, I may use Google to validate what I put down, but the content is mine. For example, Rosie, you and I have prepared this presentation. Not a word is from anywhere else. It has come out of our own heads and hearts. So it's very important that we trust ourselves. Please trust yourself. Build your own content. You know, Rosie, we have many gods and goddesses. And so one of them is Saraswati ji, and Saraswati ji is the goddess of knowledge, and Lakshmi ji is the goddess of wealth. And as trainers, being in a very noble profession, we need to balance Saraswati ji and Lakshmi ji. And I have always found that if I focus on Saraswati ji, Lakshmi ji always follows. Let's cause learning. And this was the grouse when we did the poll. Everyone, you know, so many people said, generate a learning experience, not just a training program. If you ask me what is the secret of my success, I'm very, very good with objectives and matching the objectives with the needs of the organization. Then I generate content based on the objectives. And then I say, this is what I want to say, but how do I not say it? In other words, how do I get participants to come up with that knowledge on their own? So how do I use discussions? How do I use participant presentations? How do I use cases and get them to come up with the knowledge and tell me rather than me telling them? Now, it does take a little bit of time. And if clients cut short durations, then I'm not left with much of an option but to make presentations, but interactive ones.
Yes, so make interaction with them, make them feel joyful, that they are having this experience, that they are grateful. Please, do not bore your participants. Be aware of their energy, what they need right now. They don't need content, they need an experience. And sometimes you will have only 2 or 3 slides, and that's it, because that's what they are needing in that moment. So what is serious, not to be dull. Make things better for them.
You know, Rosie, we've been talking all things which are very serious and very relevant. We have not told them jokes which they don't require. Okay. And I hope that we have not been dull. I hope that we've been interesting all through.
Yes.
Would you agree? If so, please put it in the chat. We want to know whether we have lived up to this, which is what is serious need not be dull.
Yes. We want to give you this. This is what we hope that the participant is not thinking this internally. You have to make the experience, and the experience starts with your own energy. That's one of the keys. So let's see the next video.
You know, many a times we are busy conducting training and we don't realize that this is what participants may be thinking internally.
मुझे अपने घर जाना है मुझे घर जाना है मुझे अपने घर जाना है.
And that brings us to the end of the program. A lot of people, the end of the session, not the program, and the end of Rosie's and my session, would like to express the most heartfelt thanks to a number of people. Dr. Nataraj Ray, I think he has come in, had a lot of difficulties with the internet. He is in Calcutta, and you know what the situation there is after the cyclone. Dr. Gangadharan and Mr. Arvind Kode, we could not have done this without you. And of course, Rosie, D'Amico, all the way from Mexico. You know, we've had meetings early in the morning. And so thank you, Rosie. Dr. Rohit Kumar and Jyotsna Datar are yet to play their role, but thank you in advance. And these two wonderful people from the Baroda chapter, Mr. Dilip Desai and Mr. Ramkesh Meena, always supportive. Dr. Avinash Chandra Joshi, who is the director at the ISTD National Office, and Mr. Gurvinder Singh, who's like the nuts and bolts and the grammar of this production. So he's a producer. We'd love to say thank you to the producers of Pyasa, Sholay, and Razi for use of their content. Everyone who helped us to publicize the events. We had over 1,000 participants, and that's wonderful. All of you, without whom no webinar makes sense. So all you webinar attendees have been most helpful. You've been putting things in the chat. You've been raising your hands. Thank you very much. We've used a number of images here. Thank you, copyright owners, for the use of these images. And we would also like to thank anyone whom we've inadvertently missed. We consider questions gifts. So please don't carry those questions back with you. Put them into the chat box. We will try our best to answer them. If you put your email IDs in the chat box, we will send you the session notes and we will send you answers to most of the questions. Over to you, Dr. Gangadharan. Thank you very much, everyone.
Absolutely. Very, very indulging. I don't think you allowed anybody to even relax a bit. I think you put, both of you really put them on dots. You can see the number of people responding very, very quickly. Huge number of chats have been taking place. That means it's been very indulging. Thanks to both of you for making it so, indulging. And I think ISTD should be very proud about it. Is Dr. Nataraj available? If Dr. Nataraj is available, can I ask him to say a few words before we go for question?
No, sir.
No, okay. So since Dr. Nataraj Ray has come, now we go on to the question session now. I request first question to be, since we have only 15 minutes left, probably I will request, Rohit and Josna to put one, ask one question each before we answer something else.
I'm going to stop the share here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rakesh, yeah, go ahead. Rohit.
Yeah. Gangadharan, for this fantastic opportunity. In fact, it was a pleasure to hear both Mr. Gandhi and Rosie share their experience. In fact, I was keeping a tab on the chat box, and I'm really happy to kind of share. A lot of people have put in their question. Given the time, I like to thank, for example, Dharavat Shah, Sandeep Solanki, Arpita Ganguly, Ashok Kumar, Monica Sethi, Mridul Agarwal for asking some very interesting questions. We are going to come back to them on a later date. But the question for Mr. Gandhi is coming from CV Ramana, which is basically focusing on the duration of training. Building on this, there's another question from Mr. Narendra. So I've combined three reviewers, the comments that the question that we have got together, which is Mr. Narendra, Mr. Krishna Nair, and Mr. CV Ramana. So the question is on the duration, consistency, and momentum of training. So what should be a typical duration of a training? What should be the consistency? Should we have one training or there should be a series of training? And if you have a series of training, momentum builds on. But how you try to build momentum in terms of training for organization where they treat training as a cost and not as an investment?
Okay, that's a lot of questions. So ask me one at a time and I will respond very quickly.
Yeah, so the first is in terms of duration of training. What is is there a thumb rule for the duration of a training, both in India as well as in Mexico? Do we follow some thumb rule?
Yes, it's the thumb rule is very simple. It takes as long as it takes. And it takes different kinds of training programs, require, what is your objective? For example, are you trying to create awareness? That can be done in a short time. Are you trying to build a skill? That's going to take longer. So what result do you want and how badly do you want it? That is what it takes. So I can't, give you a blanket answer. But many a times, it will take long. We've conducted 15-day training programs, 15 days. Okay, so it takes as long as it takes. Rosie?
Yes, I believe so. You have to tailor-made with the needs of the company and the participants and the purpose of the training. So yes, it's something tailored, and the most important thing is the practice for me and the follow-up. It's very important in order that things happen inside a company.
Thank you. Now, can I request,
Yes.
Jyotsna?
Yeah, thank you.
Next question, yeah.
So very wonderful session by Parimal as well as Rosie. Thank you very much. It's a
Thanks,
wonderful
Jyotsna.
session.
Thank you.
And I would like to have a question to Parimal that we have been just talking throughout the webinar for training can do this, training can do that. But I would like to genuinely ask you, where training is not an answer. Do we say that training is a panacea for all organizational problems?
It is certainly not the panacea for all organization problems.
So
So I will
where is
not.
something that we should
I will
yeah.
not make claims which I cannot substantiate. A lot of things can happen through training. I have seen organizations living with a number of problems that could have been solved through training. Attitudes can be changed, skills can be built, information can be given. And so a training can do a lot more than people give it credit for. But will it do everything? The answer is no.
So can you give us example where training is not a panacea?
Oh, where I think disciplining is required, for example, where, counseling has been tried, counseling has not worked, more counseling is not going to work. So where disciplining is required, then disciplining has to be done. So it's like, you have a Swiss knife, and in the Swiss knife, there are many tools. So HR has a lot of tools. Training is one of them. It's important. It's important because it can work on a number of people at the same time.
Okay. Now there are, no doubt Rohit would have a lot of questions to ask. Now I want to ask two things from the, the participants' point of view, two important questions. I'm sure both of you can answer if that is required. One is application of andrology while training trainees with versatile backgrounds. This was a question that posed to us by Dr. Aldar. And second question, okay, now let's finish the first and then go to second, yeah.
First of all, I have to ask, what is andrology? I just don't know.
Okay, so let's leave this. I think you used the wrong word. Second, use of confidence cards by trainers as a means of managing stubborn attendees. I think we discussed this yesterday.
Yes.
Stubborn attendees, yeah.
See, in my 45 years, I have run into 3 trainees or 3 participants that I can say I positively disliked. And this is after over 110,000 trainees that I've trained. So 3 out of 110,000. One of them, for example, caused his other colleagues not to do their homework. So 2 of them were playing a game in the class. So I don't find anybody stubborn. There is a reason why they built the attitude that they've built. And many times I've been told that, look, watch out for these guys. They will create a huge problem for you. They did not create a huge problem for me. They were knowledgeable people. And they could not suffer fools easily. And the moment they found out that I was not a fool and I was happy to have their energy and I was happy to have their knowledge, they became my best friends.
Wonderful.
One of them is, I've kept up with one of them. He's a great guy.
Okay, I'm going to stop. One more question. After that, I'm going to leave it to
Gangadharan, I have a particular question from somebody who, I really truly respect. I'm going to answer it very quickly. And I request Rosie also to answer it. In fact, the whole panel can get it. What training would you like conducted or would you like to see conducted in these COVID-19 times? And this comes from Mr. Sarup Chaudhary, who has been my client for a very, very long time, a wonderful gentleman. So he's been marketing director of IPCL. He's been the chief executive of GE Plastics, chief executive of Reliance Web World. So I'm going to ask Rosie to first answer and then I'll come up with my answer.
Thank you. I think that right now is the well-being of the people that we take care of, because the life has changed for everybody. Since we are at our places, our homes, working, having the kids in the house, the house issues, and also work. So we have to give them tools in order to have home office, to manage their own emotions, the stress of what is going to happen. So I think that's the most important right now, because about sales, about productivity, about the things that we usually look for in the company, we don't know right now what is going to happen in that matter. So we have to take care of our team and give them tools in order they can have the best moment of their lives, and also talk about the things that we usually don't have time inside the company, about efficient in processes, communication, and make the foundation much better for the next things that we have, or the next challenges that we have in the company.
Sarup, if you ask me what are my favorites, I would very strongly recommend change management, stress management, and working from home and building trust. Yes. Because people have been so used to having people face to face working with them, that for leaders to trust followers and followers to trust leaders, people need to work very effectively from home, and also virtual leadership. These are my, would be my favorite topics. But I would study the organization, that, and, then come up with what they require. Dr. Gangadharan, over to you, sir.
Yeah, no, that's okay. One of those important questions that came up was also, how do you measure behavior vis-a-vis return on investment, ROI? I think with this we'll probably ask one more question, because another 5 minutes left. Yeah.
Okay. So, Rosie, you want to answer that?
For me, as you said right now, you have to have a discussion with the director, the first level of the company, and say what are your needs right now inside of the company, and make a list of them, and discuss with them and decide which one is the best in ROI, and also in developing the skills with the people, and they can see it in communication and efficiency of processes, or in money in sales, or whatever they need. But we have to make it like a chat. It's not like, oh, these are the 3 most important. No, they have to decide which one, and from that we can decide how do you do the training.
Dr. Gangadharan, I've had a very interesting experience. I had a requirement come up, which is, can you reduce the follow-up in this organization? And I said, you mean you have to follow up with customers? And they said, no, we are doing an incredible amount of internal follow-up. So we went in and did a survey, and we asked managers, and about 20 managers they had. And we asked them, how much of your time are you spending in follow-up? You know what the result was? A shocking 40%. And we said, okay, let's look at the cost of this time, which is easy to come to, which is add up everyone's salaries, and the value of this time. Now, if a manager is not producing at least 20 times what he's being paid, then the company is not making anything out of his efforts. So we all agreed to multiply that by 20. We came to a number. Then we went in and did a delegation training program. Delegation. And 3 months later, the follow-up had not disappeared, but managers were willing to say that on an average, it had come down to 10% of their time. I think pretty good return on investment. So it's very, very possible, Dr. Gangadharan, case by case basis to find measurements.
Wonderful. I'm sure one of the persons who asked this question would have been very happy as this lady has been there. Now, Rohit, can we go? I think we have 2-3 minutes left. I'm sure one question to Rohit and another one to Josna should come to an end. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm kind of linking this to a very interesting question from Mr. Krishna Nair, saying that offsite happens during the weekends, and this is linked to the commandment 5, which says that we're not going to conduct trainings on weekends. So there's a very interesting tension between commandment 5 and commandment 4. On one side, we say that you're going to look for ROIs, on the other, we say don't conduct it on weekends. So I'd like to hear the views from the expert as to how to balance this contradiction.
I have very strong views on this subject, Professor Rohit Kumar. Look, what is the ROI on a father or a mother spending the weekend with the child? You tell me that first, because that is what we are asking the participant to give up. I think organizations, whatever we practically need to do, it can't be helped, but we need to take a strong stand on this. Organizations have no right to encroach on family time. They have no right. So it's not even a comparison. ROI measurement and weekends, there is no comparison between the two. It's invaluable. That time is incredibly invaluable. Rosie, you want to say something on this?
Yes, also I want to give you the other side. We were working with a building was going to be constructed, and they hired us because they wanted to be more productive and in less time finish the building. So one of the proposals that we made was that the directors of that project has to have one afternoon on the week, on Wednesday, that they don't have to do anything. No chatting, no mails, no working, just have that afternoon for themselves and the family and relax. So the first time that we said that to them, they say, oh, no, why? No. We only have 6 months to do it. And well, thank God that we talk to them, we inspire them and say, okay, let's do it. So the first weeks of these people having this afternoon for themselves, they were like asphyxiating. Oh, no, I need to work. I need to send an email. I need to do this. And the first week they were not happy, but they did it. The second week they were, but until the third week, they start feeling so relaxed, and that afternoon gave them the possibility to have a better energy on Thursday, a better communication with their people, creativity, because when you are in relaxed or bored is where ideas come to you. So they finished this building in less time, and they know that they having time for themselves, really time for themselves, make them more productive. So,
you know, during the lockout, Professor Rohit Kumar, we have had a different experience. I was trying to follow this principle. There was, we were doing this training program over Zoom, 1.5 hours every day. And I said 5 days a week, nothing on the weekends. So I had at least half a dozen participants telling me, sir, we want you to do it on Saturday and we want you to do it on Sunday, because that is the only relief we are getting. So, times. Jyotsna, you have a question?
So here I would like to take a question by Mr. Narendra, and it has been promised by Dr. Narendra that we will take it in a response. So a very quick view we want. The question is, what are your views on consistency of a training versus one event of a training, or continuous effort where organization and trainer sits together and decides what to do?
I suspect that this is Dr. Narendran from Udaipur.
No, it has been asked by Mr. Narendra and promised by Dr. Narendra that we will surely take this question in response.
Look, the answer is very simple, and Dr. Narendran knows it, and Dr. Rajeshwari Narendran also knows it, that the question I want to ask is, are we trying to have fun or are we trying to get a result? So we can try to get a result and still have fun, but it takes as long as it takes. That is what I would love to say. And it takes as many boosters as it takes. See, if you are looking for serious change in behavior, okay, like with vaccines, we have booster doses, the polio vaccine, we have booster doses. So similarly, training also, training is a little like bathing. So you bathe every day, don't you? Similarly, training is required to be done periodically. And therefore, I would do it consistently. I would work with the same agencies if possible, because then they become internal to the organization. They understand the organization and its problems. They know what works, what won't work.
Thank you. Now that's wonderful. Now, two things I need to clarify before we conclude. One is andragogy is one of the
Andragogy.
Is the person has returned as adult learning.
Yes.
Okay, that's one. The second thing is not Dr. Narendra. It is called Colonel Narendra Singh Bist. Not Dr. Narendra
The question,
Rajeshwari. Both of them.
the question was asked by them, and it was also promised by Dr. Narendra that we will take this question.
Wonderful.
Both Narendra has asked this
So all comes to an end, and I think there are a couple of things that before we close and hand over to Dr. Joshi for closing it. One is, I think last time a lot of people have been asking us, what do we really do after all these programs? And I want to promise them, like last time, we are bringing out Dr. Rajeshwari Narendran has agreed to, bring out an issue of what really happened last time. If Dr. Gandhi agrees, along with Rosie, we can probably bring out another issue on a PDF format to circulate what has really happened today, because a lot of people are asking for what has really happened, number one. Number two, plenty of questions has come. When the questions are probably calculated, they become 200, 300, really large number of questions. I think this is something that we need to work and then get back to all those people who have registered for today's program and respond to them with, whatever they have done. At least people who have attended this program should get the response. We want to promise them that we'll get back on behalf of Dr. Gandhi and Rosie. I'm promising them, and I'm sure both Rohit and Jyotsna, along with Mr. Kode, will participate in getting back to them.
We will happily do it, sir.
Yeah, let's do that so that we'll just not talk, and we'll also get back to them.
Sir, just a quick thought, which is we will need the chat.
We'll give you.
We will need the email IDs, recordings, everything.
Don't worry. All that will be available. I think ISTD will work on this to ensure that we get back to them, because we have to build the ISTD's image as well in the process. So I would like to thank every one of you, particularly, Parimal and Rosie, for making it extremely very powerful presentations. And Jyotsna and Rohit, I'm sure this has been always a problem. The talkers talk, the questioners can be unlimited. And if you really see a typical conferences, we always say only 2 questions can be asked. I think it's back to that same 2 questions only we could ask. And I'm very happy that, everything went on well. And I like to definitely I think Parimal has already given a vote of thanks mentioning all those people who did it. And I don't want to repeat all the names, except to particularly thank the National Office, Gurvinder, who has been extremely supportive, along with Dr. Joshi, and our good friend, Dr. Nadraj, who could not come. I think all of Calcutta is out of internet facility this afternoon. Morning, I had a talk with them. They said they are not able to come. And I would like to thank every one of you, every attendee who participated in this. I think there has been a lot of support from all of you. We look forward to continuing be with you. Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Joshi.
Thank you, Dr. Gangadharan. Indeed, it was a very, very absorbing and engaging session. And I really want to compliment Dr. Parimal Gandhi for his continuous, in fact, for me, conducting this program was a bit different from my usual programs. He was so persuasive, a lot of learning for me. And this is for the first time that I saw a Jugalbandi in training. And Rosie, do you know what is Jugalbandi? Rosie, there is a question for you.
Sorry?
Can you hear me, Rosie? Rosie?
Yes, she can hear you.
There is a question for you. Do you know the word Jugalbandi? Have you heard this word, Jugalbandi?
No.
No. So I'll just explain you that in India, in the musicians, when 2 musicians are simultaneously playing music, and in dance form also, when 2 dancers are playing simultaneously. That is known as Jugalbandi. So for trainers, it was for the first time that I saw a Jugalbandi of trainers. So I want to compliment you for beautifully synchronizing the whole thing. Very nice, very nice, very nice presentation indeed. And from two other parts of the globe, lot of similarities in expressing the ideas. A wonderful revelation. I want to compliment both of you and
Thank you.
Josna
Thank you, Dr. Joshi.
and our yeah and Dr. Rohit, our Arvind Kodeji and Desai-ji. I want to compliment you for wonderfully weaving this program. I know a lot of hard work has been going into doing and developing this program. Thanks a lot. I want to thank all my past presidents. I saw Y. Manoharji was here, and chapter chairpersons, the NC members, Anita Chauhan, Arpita Ganguly, Narendranji, Dr. Ruma Kubalkar, Panikar, Raj Singh Antilji, Rashmi Bhargava from Bhopal, Salil Chatterjee from Bhopal, Mehul Thakkar, Naipal Singh from Delhi, Ashok Panda from Bhubaneswar. In fact, again, one more feather in your cap, Dr. Parimal, that the number of attendees was the maximum today. We have been conducting the program last almost close to 2 months, the highest number of participants. So thanks a lot for your efforts. I want to thank everyone for joining. And Dr. Gangadharan, once